Welcome back to JNTV Inside. We're here in our first segment to explore Valentine's Day. And the first thing that comes to mind is probably roses and chocolates and probably candlelight dinners. But we're here with Dr. Karen Carpenter, clinical sexologist and psychologist. And she's going to be shedding some light on what you think you know a lot about, but maybe you don't know enough about it. And that's sex, relationships, and love. So Valentine's Day is upon us. And people are wondering what to do, how to make it romantic. But you might not have the type of money you want, so how do we define romance in this sort of economy?
I don't think romance has anything to do with economy. I think perhaps romance has to do with imagination.
Nice.
If we're imaginative, then we can find lots of ways that show our appreciation to our partner, that suggest to the partner that not only do we appreciate them, but we're still attracted to them, we still value them, and we're still interested in what they want. Often what people do for you is what they would like done for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the partner who cooks would like you to cook a meal for them. The partner who takes care of the business side of things would like the relief from doing it sometimes. So whatever your partner is doing most for you is usually what your partner would appreciate as well.
Interesting. So how do you know when you're in a good place in a relationship? How can you tell that this is the partner for you or that you're being a good enough spouse?
Okay. Well, those are a couple of questions. First of all, how do you know when you're in a good relationship? We bought into this notion that find a relationship through butterflies in our stomachs and headaches. And if it hurts, it's love. Well, none of that is true. We are in a good relationship when we have high levels of compatibility and when we meet what we call the relationship triangle. We meet those components of intimacy, passion, and commitment. Mm-hmm. So we need those three components working well in our relationship in order to arrive at a consummate relationship. And that's going to take intellectual compatibility, sexual compatibility, and psychological compatibility. So compatibility is very important in a good relationship.
How can somebody who perhaps has lost an angle in the triangle, whether it is intimacy or passion or commitment, how do you get it back and make it as meaningful as it was before?
That's a great question. First of all, you have to diagnose where your relationship is at. Is it the passion that's gone? Is it the intimacy that's gone? Is it the commitment? Regretfully, relationships that begin without passion don't get passion back.
Oh.
So you have to have a tremendous amount of sexual attraction for each other if you want to maintain it over many years. If the sexual attraction was lukewarm in the beginning, don't expect it to get passionately hot in the end. It's going to dwindle because our interest in the other person is being satiated as the relationship goes on. The novelty is out of the relationship. And so you really have to have that component working well. And then you have to have great intimacy. And that will lead to commitment. But commitment alone is not going to give you passion or intimacy.
What advice would you give to a couple? And I'd want to use a couple that's been together for probably 10 or 15 years where you feel this person must know that I love them already, so I don't have to do certain things. How do you get them to start showing that again? What advice would you give?
Well, let me go to M. Scott Peck. M. Scott Peck has, in my view, the best definition of love that I've heard. Normally when you ask people, well, what is love? They say, oh, but it's confusing and you can't define it and you don't know. It's a feeling you feel. Nothing of the sort. Mm-hmm. M. Scott Peck says that love is a willingness to extend yourself for the betterment of yourself and for others, sexually, psychologically, spiritually, and physically. So when you are willing to extend yourself for the growth of the other person, that is demonstrating love. And if you're able to extend yourself for the betterment of the other person romantically, sexually, passionately, then you are demonstrating romantic love.
How important is a healthy relationship to the overall well-being of an individual?
Well, we tend to look at what toxic relationships do to people, and toxic relationships put stress on people. We have a stress scale that we use, a Holmes-Ray stress scale, and that goes from 0 to 100. And poor relationships score 75% and over. Okay. Because poor relationships begin to fracture. And that puts a lot of stress on the individuals. So that's what we call a toxic relationship. The reverse is true. Good relationships give you a better outlook on life, boosts your immune system, and sex boosts your immune system incidentally, because it releases endorphins, dopamine, and oxytocin. Some of the things that are feel-good drugs, but are also adrenal drugs. So they help us to stay healthy. So obviously the couples that are in good relationships, enjoying good romance and good intimacy and good sex are clearly going to be healthier.
All right. So I've heard women say that they're able to find a partner who offers probably one component, and it's usually the sexual component that the other half is willing to give.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, you know, I can't find a man who is going to be kind, and I can't find a man who's going to open a door and pull out a chair. Where has chivalry gone? How do you answer a complaint like that?
I don't think your listeners are going to like the answer. To begin with, we attract what we are. If you lead with the sex, you'll attract a man who only wants sex. We attract what we are. If you attract a man into your life who's unkind, perhaps you need to look at your kindness. You have to be it to get it. So what I encourage people to do, men and women, is to think about the qualities you want in a partner and become that partner. Don't wait on somebody to come along to embody that. Nobody completes you. Nobody's a half of you. There's no better half or worse half. They're just people. So if you want to attract a partner into your life who is all of these wonderful and positive qualities, you have to be that. And that's how we attract the right partner.
That's fair enough. As a matter of fact, it's more than fair. But for those of us who perhaps are having challenges in relationships, don't know how to get that help, not sure if you should go to pastor, auntie, uncle, mommy, or talk to your best friend in a bar about it, how can they get professional help to improve their relationship?
Well, first of all, let me deal with a best friend. I think it's great if you have a best friend who will listen. Regrettably, a sample of one is not a scientific sample. And so your best friend is going to give you advice based on their own experiences. And certainly they may have had more than one experience. It's still not scientific. Your pastor is perhaps a better person to go to, because based on your faith group, you might find the advice very useful. If you want professional research-based help, then you need a psychologist or psychiatrist. And you can either go to the university hospital, you can go to someone privately, but certainly we have clinics around the country that can help you.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Karen Carpenter there, sharing some very, very useful information on how to build, maintain, and improve relationships as we approach, as we simmer down, and as we move past Valentine's Day for 2014. Stay tuned. We have more in store on Insight when we return.